Dharmasthala, an 18-year-old and very secret temple in Karnataka, was featured across many national and international media for past 2 months. Not because it's a temple center for millions of devotees, not because it's a place for religious harmony, not because it is one of the largest pilgrimage sites in Karnataka, not because of its services like feeding thousands daily, free education and medical services. No, it is because the temple was attacked, and as usual, the Hindu-phobic elements used the media network to amplify the attack by spreading false information, to malign the Hindu faith and to defame the Hinduism itself. The attack on Hindu institutions and Hindu gurus followed by the media trials are part of the recurring methodology. Dharmasthala is another chapter in this endless saga of Hindu Holocaust. The entire conspiracy began when the group of lawyers released a letter hinting that the mass murders and mass burials are taking place around the temple of Dharmasthala, which is followed by a former anonymous sanitation worker filing a complaint alleging over 1,000 plus illegal burials, mostly involving women and children with the marks of assault. The police immediately registered the FIR without the verification of the complaint or any evidence. Within no time, the Hindu-phobic forces started the media trial with the anti-Hindu narratives. Even the state hurriedly formed a special investigation team to probe the case. To further fuel the conspiracy, another woman joined alleging that her daughter had gone missing from the temple. Without any verification, media ran a massive campaign with age-generated videos of rapes, burials, and murder to strengthen the trial. After a month-long investigation, the special investigation team reported that there is no mass graves or burials were found. Even the skull produced by the so-called whistleblower found out to be fake. When the truth began to emerge, as usual, media disappeared. Then police arrested the complaint, and now the further investigations are underway to uncover the further conspiracy. But for the Hindu-phobic media elements, it is a job done. They have done an extensive misinformation campaign to defame the temple and its community. They used all possible means to attack the 800-year-old Kshetra and try to shake its foundation. Although the temple survived, the damage caused was irreparable. But when the same deep state Hindu-phobic elements attacked the Supreme Court of Hinduism and Kailasa during 2010, it was not just to attack and shake, but to completely eliminate him and uproot the entire mission. For two reasons. One, within just 10 years, his mission have reached worldwide, expanding over 120 countries, services reaching millions and receiving proclamations from all across the world. Second, at just 30 years old, he had a bigger vision to revive Kailasa, the Hindu nation, and was already well on his way. That's why, while the justice was served for Dharmasthala within 2 months, the attack on Supreme Court of Hinduism and Kailasa persisted for 2 decades. Even the attack on Supreme Court of Hinduism and Kailasa has a similar pattern. The conspiracy began by the release of a deepfake masked video. In just 24 hours, the Hindu-phobic media elements spread more fake and false narratives compared to what they have done for Dharmasthala in 2 months. The very next day, a false case was registered against Supreme Court of Hinduism by the deep state Hindu-mystic elements. Even the police registered the case under the IP section for rape, even though there is no mention of rape in the complaint itself. The state authorities rushed the legal process and assigned a special CID police to probe the case. And throughout this entire episode, the media ran a massive hate and defamation campaign. After 3 months, the CID police reported to the court that there is no witness against Supreme Court of Hinduism or his mission. All the witnesses supported him. Ideally, what should have happened here is closing the case and investigating the conspirators to expose the truth. But since this attack was aimed at completely eliminating the Supreme Court of Hinduism and to uproot his entire mission, the deep state Hindu-phobic elements carried out a malicious lawfare, assassination attempts, and media trial for last 2 decades. This attack is nothing less than a genocide. Let me explain why I'm calling this attack as a genocide. From the day one, the media wing of the Hindu-phobic deep state elements started the trial and they showed him as a person of guilt. They done an extensive false and hate campaign claiming that the deepfake video is true. On the other side, the militant wing of the deep state Hindu-phobic elements attacked and vandalized all the temples, monasteries and ashrams belonging to Kailasa across the country in a matter of days. There is a saying, call a dog mad dog and kill it, people will thank you. So the media ran a massive hate campaign to justify the attack carried out by the militant wing and pre-justify the assassination of the Supreme Court of Hinduism if they could do so. Despite the attack, the Supreme Court of Hinduism came forward to the media and gave a statement that the video is muff. But they used their poisonous defamation title, yes, it is me in the video, and spread the false narratives. About the marked video, the forensic report says that the person in the video resembles the Supreme Court of Hinduism, but there is nothing in that report which says the video is true and it is not marked. Multiple US foreign experts examined the video and given an affidavit that the video is morphed with multiple composite layering. Even the CEO of the media network which aired this deepfake video given an affidavit under the oath of US court that the video is fabricated for money extortion. On the other side, the police publicly bribed in the media to get a false victim against the Supreme Court of Hinduism, but received none. Even the court denied his anticipatory bail, stating that he cannot be arrested as there is no victim or witness against the Supreme Court of Hinduism. However, police lied to the court and illegally arrested him and kept him in a 52-day judicial custody, where he was subjected to a third-degree torture to extract a false confession from him. In the name of investigation, the police raided the ashram and filed more false cases, including charges on tiger skin poaching and scandal smuggling. All these false allegations were proven false and dismissed by the court later. Meanwhile, the Hindu-phobic media elements continued their attack by making further false claims that 30 more CDs were found and caught with 5 more women. They went ahead to make false allegations against him, claiming involvement in the hedge funds, foreign currency scam, land grabbing, gold smuggling, forged documents. Entities in the US are getting sued, international branches are shutting down, multiple witnesses came forward, and sex trafficking, whatnot. Even going to the extent of spreading fake statements claiming they were made by Supreme Court of Hinduism or by his counsel. While granting the bail, even the court noted that the issue was already subsidized by the media. For the first time in the history, the interrogation footage was released to the media and they put their own poisonous captions to strengthen their trial. To further fuel the conspiracy, the media cooked its own story of a non-existent non-disclosure agreement. His passport was illegally impounded and all the trust bank accounts were freezed. All the temple properties came under the attack of land grabbers and all the free services were disturbed. After 6 months of massive attack, the court said it will quash the FIR because there was no victim or witness against the Supreme Court of Hinduism. However, through the pursuit by the deep state Hindu-phobic elements, a false victim was brought in to sustain the case. An NRI woman who had 4 contagious sexually transmittable diseases claimed that she was raped over 100 times in 5 years. In the US, the Ohio District Court penalized her with nearly $500,000 US for making false rape allegations against the Supreme Court of Hinduism. In California, the court ruled against her for making false allegations against the Supreme Court of Hinduism and imposed penalties. The Michigan court issued 2 bench warrants against her because she disobeyed multiple court orders. However, the Michigan police closed her complaint stating it is a false, and she herself confessed that she never made any complaint of rape against the Supreme Court of Hinduism. Even a court in India upheld the US District Court order and penalized her with 33 million in Indian rupees. Moreover, her own medical report did not show any sign of rape. She even confessed via email conversation that she was never sexually abused. After 2 years, another false victim was added to further fuel the conspiracy. NRI man making an allegation of unnatural sex against the Supreme Court of Hinduism. First, he made the same allegation in the US to escape from the child molestation charges filed against him. When he realized that he going to lose both the cases in the US, he came as another false victim to support the existing case in the India. But in US, for child molestation charges, he was sentenced to 5 years of jail and then deported. In California, the court penalized him with nearly $500,000 US for making false allegations against the Supreme Court of Hinduism. Even the court in India, which upheld the California court order and penalized him with 27 million in Indian rupees. What about the complaint itself? He is currently absconding from the 4 non-bailable warrants issued by the court. He was charged with rape, extortion, conspiracy, criminal intimidation, and creating a deepfake video. He is even arrested after denial of bail by all courts up to Supreme Court of India. In 2012, when the media was called to tell all this truth, the Hindu-phobic media elements, along with their militants, attacked the Supreme Court of Hinduism and his sannyasis in their very own campus. Instead of arresting the militants and protecting the Supreme Court of Hinduism, the police illegally arrested the Supreme Court of Hinduism on the basis of the false case lodged by the media which attacked him. Even after being granted bail, he was arrested illegally for the second time on the same day on another false charges. The media reported that these 2 arrests are part of the rape charges. But later the High Court called both the arrests are illegal without any authority, contradiction to law without any jurisdiction, and abuse of power, and dismissed the case. Then came that potency test. The state medical team abused him physically with a test which is not needed and has been banned under United Nations Convention Against Torture. Media did not leave this incident alone either. Before the test, there was a huge defamation campaign against the Supreme Court of Hinduism. During the test, there was a paparazzi car chase and mob lynching. Even after the test, they spread their contradictory statements to confuse and incite a hatred among the masses. Even when the test results came, it clearly showed the Supreme Court of Hinduism's testosterone level was below that of the newborn baby. So it is therefore declared that he is important. But the media twisted this fact and fueled their fake narrative. Suddenly, a new murder conspiracy was brought up. The police investigation and autopsy report confirmed it is a natural death and closed the case. But the media continued to accuse him of murder till today. Since there was no evidence of rape and both the false victim lost the cases in US with heavy penalties and one victim have been already sentenced for jail, she changed her statement from rape to consent by fraud. The media even twisted this and spread a false narrative that SPH had admitted it is a consensual sex. After 8 years, this case was moved for a trial. But how? Because the state prosecution suppressed all the evidence to support the Supreme Court of Hinduism's innocence. Even though the Supreme Court of India declared it as sterling quality evidence, the prosecution still withheld the crucial information. The medical report of the false rape victim with multiple STDs and multiple US court orders exonerating the Supreme Court of Hinduism from the false rape charges and her own email conversation were suppressed. And the medical report on Supreme Court of Hinduism which showed Supreme Court of Hinduism's importance was taken as per the media narrative. Even the multiple US doctors' affidavit on Supreme Court of Hinduism's importance and his incapability for any sexual activity was suppressed, stating that it cannot be scrutinized at this moment. With no solid evidence, the case was pushed for a trial, stating at this stage mere suspicion is enough, which is completely against multiple court orders and rulings from the High Court and Supreme Court. With increasing attack of the media to defame Supreme Court of Hinduism and militants' attack to assassinate him, denial of his passport renewal forced him to leave the country. Was it an end? No. And another false case of child labor and child kidnap was filed against Supreme Court of Hinduism. Again, before the state began its investigation, the media started the trial, which led to a militant attack. What it took an year to establish a university for women was vandalized within an hour. Again, without any evidence, the charges were framed and 2 female sannyasis were arrested. Media called out all the colors in textbook and called that the Interpol issued notice against the Supreme Court of Hinduism. However, the Interpol denied issuing any notice against the Supreme Court of Hinduism, and even the High Court of Gujarat dismissed all the false cases linking to the child labor and child kidnap. When the United Nations recognized the persecution of Supreme Court of Hinduism and Kailasa, the media even attacked the Kailasa's presence in the United Nations. The juridical statehood was recognized by the UN, but the media continued to call it as a fictional nation which doesn't exist. Even recently, the Kailasa's humanitarian services to multiple indigenous nations were called as land grabbing. Over this entire episode, the Supreme Court of Hinduism and the peoples of Kailasa survived over 70 plus assassination attempts, and more than 120 false cases were filed against him, with just one pending disposition. With just an overview, we can clearly declare it is a multi-level genocide against Supreme Court of Hinduism and Kailasa. False allegations were made, media trial ran rampant, militant attack to kill him, truth was suppressed and justice was delayed, and unjustly, the victims were portrayed as the perpetrators. Genocide at its peak. The global Hindu community's silence have enabled all this persecution, and recent Dharmasthala conspiracy is another reminder for ongoing threat. The global Hindu community must unite to protect all the dharmic institutions from the Hindu-phobic and deifid elements. So it is clear that the revival of Kailasa is a survival need for Hinduism and its persecuted people worldwide.